Hello and welcome to Through the Mist with me, your host Owen. This is a void and verse theory podcast where we will look at the lore and try to understand how it all works. In this episode, we'll be looking at the Hunters of Artemis. Hey, we're back with another episode, guys. We're back. Guess who's back? Hey, back again. Oh, Owen's back. Hey, tell your friend. Oh, yeah. Go tell your friends about this podcast, especially if they like Percy Jackson. You can also go tell them to follow the Instagrams at through_mist. Or, if they want to get in touch, or you want to get in touch, you can email through.t.mist@gmail.com. Oh, plugging myself right at the start. Oh God, no, not like that. Calm down. But yeah, getting all the plugging all the stuff out right at the start because we are the best. So yeah, welcome back to another episode of Through the Mist, episode 9 to be precise. 2 more and we will hit a year. So I might try and do another one at some point, just so it's 12 a year. So it's nice 12 months because I skipped that month in August, but we'll see how that all pans out. Yes, I've got 2 things I want to mention before we get into the theory. One of them is to do with the theory, because this is Owen's ramble section. If you've never come to this before, this is where if anyone got in contact with me, because no one ever does, if either someone got in contact with me, I would mention and we'd have a discussion about what they said at this point, or it's just me rambling on about random thoughts that I've had throughout this month about Percy Jackson or whatever the episode I'm looking at this week is. So I'm going to start off with, I've come up with a group name for you guys that listen. Probably about 5 of you that actually listen to my podcast rather than just, I don't know. Well, we've got more Instagram followers than we have listeners, so I don't really understand how it works. We have low engagement. That's fine. But anyway, for you true fans out there of this podcast, I have now come up with the name Mist Busters for you. It made me laugh. It's a pun on Mythbusters. So we're now Mist Busters because we are busting open the mist, trying to see through it, all the wordplay that I have going on in this podcast. So now I'm going to, from now on, refer to you lot, the listener, as a mist buster. Because why not? It's fun. Hope you like that name. If you don't, remember, you can always get in touch and give us with better suggestions. So, the other thing I want to talk about is to do with what we're looking at today, which is the Hunters of Artemis. I might put some music first, because this might go on for a bit, and it's a bit of a rant. We'll see. We'll see what editing Owen did. What I want to talk about, Hunters of Artemis, specifically the Greco-Roman whole double god thing. Because Thalia, do the Hunters of Artemis, did they know about the whole Diana existing thing? It comes up for many reasons. One, if you're a Roman demigod, the oath you say is exactly the same, except where it says Artemis, you say Diana. It makes sense for that fact, but that means that the group must have been mingled of different types of demigods before. So did Thalia know about the Romans? Probably a week after she joined? It just got told to her, because they spend a lot of time around Artemis. So I have, when did Thalia, that's Thalia for most people, but there's a TH in names, so I've already read it as Thalia. And sometimes it's hard to get out of these habits that you've given yourself when reading a book and not actually hearing it out loud. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so when did she find out about the Romans? Did she find out right at the start? Did she find out later on? It's a mess. It's an utter mess. It's one of the biggest plot holes with the whole Roman thing, is when did Thalia specifically find out about, because obviously she didn't know about them before, but then the whole bit in here is Olympus when they meet Jason for the first time. It's she doesn't seem to know about the Romans, because it's I don't know where you could have gone. But there must be some Roman demigods in the group. They can't all be Greek up until that point, or maybe they are. Who knows, really? It is very weird and just, don't like it. Don't make sense. Yes. Anyway, we'll get on to the actual topic now. So, roll those banging tunes, Owen. What tune that you take up? I want to get a new one. Hey, So, I just recorded something and I didn't like how I was wording it, so this is the first ever complete re-record of a section. So, what I was trying to say last time, which you will never hear, because I have now deleted it forever, is that before we get into the Hunters part of the Hunters of Artemis, I just want to have a little talk about Artemis herself and her maidenhood and how that relates to the vow that we get in the book. Also, we'll just have a little cultural context because it's just I like it. I like what it says, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Because last time I tried to elaborate, I just got weirded out by myself. So we'll go with the cultural context first, because then that gets out of the way, and then we can go to the foul thing. And that, yeah, better order, Rowan. This is the better order. So the ancient context, the ancient cultural context. Say that 6 times fast. The ancient cultural context, which I want to mention, is that so the fact that she's a maiden may have also been a way for her to uphold her power, because a married woman is usually in the world of ancient Greece. If we look at Athens in particular, because I think like Athens and Sparta, they're the main two. Sparta was a bit different. Athens was more what we would consider Tudory. Is probably the best way I can describe it without. Thanks for Horrible Histories for teaching me the difference between Athens and Sparta. Wife swap. Horrible Histories. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Artemis. So the fact that she held on to her maidenhood and didn't give it away, that part of her away, also gave her her own power, rather than giving it to whoever her godly husband would be. It's a way for her to become her own master, and it's kind of one of those women empowerment things that you see around everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but just go. It's all good. Anyway. Hey up, editing Owen here. So, I realised that in the deleted version, I did mention something that I want to put back in, which is for this entire episode, all the research I did was mainly either from 2 websites, Wikipedia, which, it's a relatively good source, but also from this theo.com website, which is more useful for the maiden stuff later. And I think I mentioned this again, and I think I said I put a link in the description. I can't remember now, but I just wanted to mention that now, just again, because I feel like it's important. Yeah, okay. I'll send you back to past Owen. Bye. So, now the bit I want to talk about for the vow, the historical context for Artemis and the vow. So, as her role, as a primary role, as a primary role as a huntress, you could have her maidenhood linked with that, because hunters would traditionally abstain from the fun times prior to the hunt, as a ritual, as a form of ritual purity, out of the belief that the scent of their naughtiness would scare off potential prey, so they would be able to hunt as well. So it could be linked to that, which is both just a nice nod to the traditions at the time, but then there's also the thing I talked about earlier, which I don't want to mention again because I find it weird when I do, because I don't think I'm the one that should be talking about it. Yeah, please. Anyway, we'll now get onto the hunters themselves. So, in the myths, there are no Hunters of Artemis. However, she does have attendants. So in the 10 Wishes poem by Callimachus, well, if you want to spell it, that's Charlie, Alpha, Lima, Indio, Mike, Alpha, Charlie, Hotel, Uniform, Sierra, because there you go, if you want to spell that out. She has the wishes she asks useful. One of them is to have 20 Asamide nymphs, water nymphs, 20 nymphs of the daughters of the river god Aminos in Crete, to become her handmaidens and watch her hunting dogs and bow while she rested. So, along with these, she also had 60 of the Oceanides, which are ocean nymphs, I believe, which would have been like the start of the idea of the Hunters of Artemis in this. However, we also get the apotheosis maidens, who are again referred to as attendants in the mythology. But these were mostly mortals. There was a couple of nymphs that I saw in the thing. Actually, I'll put the email link to the Theo website, and you can see all this stuff, and gives you a little more context if you want to look at it. Put that in the description. I'm pointing down again like I'm in a video, but I'm not. Mostly mortals that were given immortality by Artemis as acts of heroics, because of like acts of heroics, or to help them escape the wild clutches of those evil men. Grr. I'm saying that sarcastically, but I mean it seriously. And this does include our good friend Hemithea from Toa. If you read Toa, you know what I'm on about. Technically, Zoe is kind of an ocean nymph, so she could have been in that 20, or those. No, she wouldn't be in the 20 Naiad nymph daughters, but she could be in the 60, the original part of the original 80 attendants that Artemis had. Yeah, so that's kind of some background on the Hunters, because the Hunters weren't a real thing really in the myths, but she has these attendants, which I think Rick had some fun with and played around with the idea. We'll get to that next. So, the books. So, as I just said, the Hunters weren't a real thing in the myths. He actually has these attendants, but she doesn't have the Hunters as we know them from the books. So, it's like, for the world of Rick and the Royden verse, the Hunters seem to be an extension or reimagining of these attendants. So, like, you have the apotheos attendants, maidens, and that is where the pure concept of the Hunters come from. But then you should also have the nymph attendants, which is why she kind of accepts anyone and all that jazz, all that fun jazz. So, but the one part of Royden law that is pure Royden law is the oath itself, which goes like this: I pledge myself to the goddess Artemis. I turn my back on the company of men, accept eternal maidenhood, and join the hunt. It doesn't matter if I say that, because, you know, me being a man, I'm not allowed in the first place. That's exactly the same if you're Roman, except you shake Diana. As I said earlier, this throws up a whole load of complications. Not even. So, but this idea of eternal maidenhood and joining the hunt and stuff, joining the hunt and the Hunters of Artemis and the eternal maidenhood, before mentioned all this before, and how it links back to Artemis and most of her attendants, her apotheos maidens, her mortal maidens, because I'm going to say that from now on, and things, and how most of them were running away from the man, literally the man, trying to find safety in someone else, in a collective. So that's that. This is a bloody Diana thing, which I hate. And we'll get on to the community question that I asked last month, facing much when the last episode came out, which no one replied to. I have 0 engagement. It's sad. So remember, if you want to join in, follow the Instas through_mist, and you can DM, add comments to posts, whatever makes you feel better, or you could email through.t.mist@gmail.com. And if you want to be anonymous, just state it somewhere in the message, and I won't name you. It's that simple. That simple. Yes, so we'll get to the community question now, and I'll talk a bit more about why I decided to do this episode in the first place. Okay, we're doing another re-record. So you could probably guess that I want to talk about this, but I'm finding it hard to find the right words to talk about this sort of stuff. So, the community question. So what this community question was, I just stay out straight. It was, the reason I asked it was I wanted to look at how the Hunters of Artemis have become queer icons to a large section of the community. Because when I read the books and all this stuff, I never saw it that way. Probably because I'm not one of them. Also a man. But I never saw it that way. I think I saw it more in line with what is canon and what is lore within the book universe. The Voidinverse, in the sense of they are maidens. That's it. So I asked the question out on Instagram. I got response from none of my audience, but I got a response from the Seaweed Brain podcast, specifically Erica. And that was the only response I got on Instagram. That was it. No one else said anything else. So, sad times. But what I did instead was I went and got my other podcasting contacts and went and asked them to see if they had any opinions they would like to share. And I got thoughts back from the Half-Blood Report, Sam, Floor 600, Natalie, and the Best Damn Camp, which is just Fran. I will put descriptions and links to all the podcasts. I'll do the little plug. I'll do the little plug for all of you guys now. So, Seaweed Brain podcast. Their core concept is they wanna look at Persebeth. That's they're in love with Persebeth. They want to look at Persebeth. Go listen. For a Half-Blood Report, they look at all Royden related news. Rick Royden presents books, TV show news, movie news. They look at news. They do reviews. They do interviews. They interviewed Rick. Go take a listen. They interviewed him for the last book. Go take a listen. Description. Floor 600. That is now in a deep sleep, like Gaia. But if you want a chapter by chapter review of the Pojo series, they've done that. It's all done. Go listen. Binge it. And then the Best Damn Camp is Fran. Shout out to British podcasters. There's just us two. And there's a chapter 1, but in chronological order. So, it's a bit of fun. You get to find out in order of the series we've read. I think she's about to start a new book. So, always a good jumping in point. Yes. Plugs out the way. We'll go back to the serious stuff. Remember, links in the description for all of them. I'm doing the pointy down thing again. So, yes. So. I got responses from all these people. Well, one of them was on Instagram. You can go read that one from Erica. It's very good. I recommend you read it if you, like me, didn't see the world this way, because it's a very nice response and it frames it nicely. It's very well written, Erica. Anyway, it made me understand very nicely, is what I'm saying. So go read it. So the main things I picked out from the conversations / responses that everyone gave was that this idea of the queer icon stuff is more like it's a place where they could be themselves without feeling any social pressures. So if we go back to so we have this wonderful thing that Sam said, just joining the Hunters would be a great way for them to escape prosecution and/or forced marriage. It was an escapism. It was a safe haven for queer women and women as a whole. That's from Fran. So it was this idea that I think I think that it seems. I think that's a better way to say it. I have a small representation because no one wanted to comment. If you all commented, I would have a bigger pool. Okay, I'm trying my best, but I wanted to talk about this, so we're talking about it. Yeah, and it was an escapism, and it was a great, as Erica said, it amazed me as a kid that you could just do that being join the Hunters and reject men and social ideals and the rest of it, and also get a cool silvery jacket. Come on, who doesn't want the cool silvery jacket, man? Ooh, phone's going off. I will be back. I'm back, and I just heard myself what I said, like as I was running down the stairs to pick up the phone. So, when I said men, I was just talking about people in general. Yes. Anyway, yes. Hunters of Artemis, queer community, it all cool. It was just me basically wanting to understand it from a different perspective, and I think I have. And thank you to everyone that responded. That was great. If you, like me, saw it differently, maybe reading Erica's response on the Instagram, because it's the only public one, or listen to this bit and me trying to explain the other side, which is a really bad idea in hindsight, helped you understand it too. So I think that's going to be it for this episode, because I feel like I'm digging myself into a hole, talking about other people's opinions for them. Yes. Anyway, that's going to be it then. This month, I think next month. Do you wanna everyone get a hint for next month? Do you want the next month hint, guys? Next month, we're going to be looking at the only book series we haven't looked at yet. That's right. I think I'm going to do a Magnus Chase episode, because I've finally come up with something for it. However, I need to do a bit of research first, so, if it isn't Magnus Chase. So, anyway, make sure I'll do the outro now. Hey, thank you for enjoying this theory. If you have any comments on this theory or theories of your own that want to discuss, either on Boo, which is boo.t.mist@gmail.com, or you can follow the Instagram and DM them. Make sure you follow the podcast, rate this podcast, whatever you subscribe to the podcast, whatever you have to do to get this podcast known out there. Like, I don't know, write an Apple review. I've been Owen. Come back next time as we try to see. Ooh, that means! That was a weird one, Hopefully it works.